Hello everyone and welcome to another video on my channel. In this one I'm going to show you the guide for the round 5 of this 2026 Nations season, and this combo that I'm going to be showing you is at the Suzuka circuit, and we are in these X2019 vehicles as you can see here. So what I'm going to show you in this video is I'm first of all going to show you and talk about these ratings that you can see on the screen now. Then I'm going to show you my best time trial lap I did, which is a 1:32.247, around 6/10 of the current world record at the time of recording. And then I'm going to go into detail on how to achieve those sort of lap times, and then ending it out with a full race distance of practice with some commentary in the background. So if you find this video helpful and enjoyable, then I would appreciate a like and a sub. But let's get into it. So let's go through these racing. So it's a 25 lap race, 16 car grid as always, rolling start again, a common theme of this season. The qualifying time is 6 minutes. Since the laps are just over 1:30, you'll have time to do, I believe, 3 flying laps, or 2 flying laps if you were to reset after the first run. Similar to the last round, fuel consumption is off in qualifying at 1 times only in the race, so we don't have to worry about fuel at all. Even though this car is 30 on fuel, since it's only 1 times fuel, we still have some fuel at the end of the race, even when fully revving the car out, so do not have to worry about fuel. Tyre wear on times 4 for both qualifying and the race. The usable tyres here is the racing hards, medium, soft, inters and wets, but since, as you'll see in the next section, that you need to use all 3 tyres here, there's not going to be rain in this race, so we don't need to worry about the inters or the wet tyres. So make sure you have at least bought the racing hards, mediums and soft tyres if you were to use your own X2019 car. If you were to rent the car, then that's fine because it'll provide all the tyres that it's on there basically. So you don't have to worry about that if you're renting. But if you do use your own X2019, please make sure you've got the racing hards, the racing mediums and the racing soft support. But anyway, now to the required tyre type. As you can see, and I've just mentioned about 30 seconds ago, we have to use all 3 slick tyres. So at some point we're going to have to use all these 3 tyres, and the difference in grip between each tyre is quite significant, and that could separate between you having a good race and you having a bad race. So I would recommend to try practice a bit with each tyre before go into the race personally, especially the hard tyre, even though you're only going to be on it for a couple laps maximum, since it's a lot trickier to get pace out of on that tyre compared to the mediums and softs in my opinion, especially on cold hards. You're more likely going to sprint, etc. So I would recommend practicing with it, but more on that later. No wide body, no nitrous obviously. We are allowed to change the brake balance. I was using +5 brake balance throughout. Just from my personal experience, I like to have oversteery cars on the braking, and I want to try save a touch of front tyres as well. DRS also affected, light mechanical damage, normal track limits, shortcut penalties on the week, no all collision penalties. Obviously there is car collision penalties to play clean and race clean, and last but not least there is a pit lane line cutting penalty which is on. And I will say right now, it is very easy to pick up a pit lane penalty on the entry. If you just touch the outside right line going into a pit entry, that is a 3-second penalty. So you have to be extremely careful on the pit entry. As you can see in the race details as well, as you can see, the slipstream is on custom. So the slipstream is likely going to be pretty powerful with no dirty air. So you may see quite a bit of falling, especially in the top lobbies. But anyway, now I'm going to show you my 1:32.247 lap in the time trial. So I'll cut to that clip now. Cheers, guys. Alright guys, so if you enjoyed the lap showing you, now I'm going to show you how I did it. So two things before I'm going to get into it. So first of all, I revved this car out. I believe that is the fastest way to get the most power out of this car. So I fully revved this car out. Second of all, to start the lap, take the wide line here because you gain half a tenth using this wide line to start the lap since you've got an extra one up. So you've basically got more time to gain momentum to start the lap than to use the inside as you would to finish the lap and in the race as well. But let's get into it. So, first corner. I turn just after this 50 marker here. I'm literally just starting to turn now, and I brake. Let me go frame by frame for a second. There you go, I'll start to lift now. So, I brake halfway between the start of this green ashtray bit here, well not ashtray, but the green thing that's not grass, and the end of this inside curve here. I brake halfway between the two. This is what it looks like in bonnet camera, this is what it looks like in chase, and this is what it looks like in the cockpit. Drift out a bit wide just if I open up the entry for the next corner. Trail brake as soon as you get about here, there you go. Minimum apex speed you want for this corner is about 92 miles per hour here. I did go a touch deep, so that's why it was a bit slow on this particular lap. I think I turned a bit late as well, but anyway. You want to be about 92 miles per hour minimum apex speed. Here, I start to turn as you see the track lines. You can basically follow the track lines here. It's probably quite hard to see since it's quite dark, but follow that line. You want to clip the inside curb here as well, and you want to take this corner about 140 miles per hour. Here, as soon as she starts to straighten up, that's when you want to turn to the right. For this corner, I went about 120 miles per hour. I would show different cameras than that, but since it's a momentum runner, I kind of want to, since you're going so fast and with momentum, I'd rather just stay in this camera so that you guys can see. But as soon as my car starts straightening up, etc., I'm turning to the right. It would be quite hard to follow if I was to change cameras during this part of the track. But anyway, as soon as I'm halfway to the left and right, I start to turn to the left again. Turn to the last corner, I take about 120 miles per hour. Here, I brake. I just start braking now, but I tend to brake at the beginning of this curve, green part of this curve here, and just let the car coast around the corner, down to about 100 miles per hour for this corner. Here, as soon as you get close to the full right of the track, that's when I turn to the left. Lift a bit, just so that you don't understeer too wide. But the minimum apex speed I was going roughly for this corner, or the apex speed about halfway around the corner, I should say, when I'm hitting the curb, is about 130 miles per hour here. Now I'm going to go back to showing views. So here I brake around 50 marker. There you go, literally on the 50 on this lap. So this is what it looks like in bonnet, chase cam, and cockpit. And minimum apex speed I was going in this corner was 148 miles per hour area. Try to clip this red and white part of the curb if you can, but try not to go too much on this curb, at least on control, because it can unsettle the car and shove you off the track basically. Here I'm braking, there's this tiny dark bit on the white line here. I basically use that as my braking reference. There is two of them, so I brake about halfway between the two. In fact, I was just starting braking now. So this is what it looks like in bonnet, chase, and cockpit. Oh, sorry, chase and cockpit. The minimum apex speed I was going for this corner is around 86 miles per hour. This corner, quite easy, I would say. I brake at the end of this curve here. Stay to the right. Sorry, I forgot to show you the different camera angles. So I'll start braking now. This is what it looks like in bonnet, chase, and cockpit. The minimum apex speed I was taking out in this corner was about 44 miles per hour. Go slightly deep in so that you have a good angle out of the corner, and you will have to go about 80 km/h on the exit. So yeah, just be careful, especially in the race, because you don't want to hurt your rear tyres too much. This corner I'm braking just after, and I literally mean just after, going past the last part of this spare road bit here. So just as the grass starts to restart here, I brake about, I would say 60 meters here, any second now. There you go. So this what looks like in bonnet, chase, and cockpit. And the apex speed I was taking here was about 127 miles per hour. Go deep in, use all this outside curb in here to open up yourself for the next corner. The minimum apex speed I was going for this corner was around 90 miles per hour. In the race, on the harder tyres, I do tend to exit in third, but on softs you want to exit in fourth here. And pick up the throttle as early as you can in this car as well, because it's got downforce. So you need to use that downforce to gain momentum at the corners. This corner, I just started to lift now. I broke about 120 meters here. So this is what it looks like in bonnet, chase, and cockpit camera. And the minimum apex speed I was going for this corner is 55 miles per hour. Try to get your left tyres to be basically just off this red and white curb, and your right tyres to go all over the screen part of this Astro here. As soon as you go past this little tarmac change here, that's when I started to turn to the left, and the minimum apex speed I was going for this corner in third gear was about 68 miles per hour. Be a bit careful on the throttle here, don't go too early forward because you can overturn like that. I said 132, 247. So now I'm going to go to the race stint and talk more there. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next clip. Alright everyone, so here is the race run that I did. So before I get into it, I'm going to first of all quickly talk about the lobby settings I use. So obviously in time trial we are not able to tell what the temperature is, but just from the past etc. The lobbies tend to be hotter in the same weather conditions or time of day I should say. Let me rephrase that actually. So what I was trying to say is when using the same time of day between lobby and the actual like race etc. in the sport mode, the lobby tends to have a few degrees hotter track temps or higher track temps compared to the sport mode race. So for example, if this race was in the afternoon in the sport mode race, it would probably equivalent quite well to late morning in the lobby, since like I just said, the lobby tends to be about 3 or 4 degrees Celsius hotter than using the same time of day in the sport mode. But anyway, so what I put this on was early morning, not early morning, sorry, late morning, SO1, and I had equal conditions of and time of the change in time of day basically. So whatever that variant is, I had it on times 1. I should have probably had it on times 0 now thinking about it, but I had it on times 1, and I'll say I should have had it on times 0 because you will see, especially during the second half of this stint, that the wind direction did move a bit, and you'll notice in a corner or two that it really did put me off, and I lost quite a bit of time doing it. But anyway, so I had it on late morning, SO1, and I reset the lobby until I got the same wind direction as I would in time trial, which is 11 o'clock. I believe it's 2.5 meters per second or somewhere along that range in time trial. 2.4 maybe it was. I had it at 3.3, but you'll see during the first half of this stint that the wind speed does go down a bit, and in fact it pretty much it's a direct copy of what it was in time trial for a bit. So I think we did really good with the racing. I just wish we had it on time 0 variable time of day. But anyway, let's get into it. So I think the optimum strat for this personally is to do 1 or 2 laps on the hards. Let's say you do 2 laps on the hards like I'm doing now. Since it's a 25 lap race, you want to basically make the softs last as long as possible. I felt that the longest I could do soft stint for while still having competitive pace was 8 laps. So I decided to do 2 laps on the hards, 15 laps mediums, 8 laps softs. That way you are on the soft side for as long as you can be. And plus, since you'll be on lower fuel on the softer stint, you're carrying less weight, which means you have less tyre wear, since you're putting less weight through those tyres, etc. If you're trying to understand what I'm trying to say, or if you understand what I'm trying to say, sorry. So I did 2 laps hards, 15 laps mediums, 8 laps softs. You can do 1 lap hards and do 16 mediums and 8 softs. That's probably good. That's probably what most top split drivers will do. Obviously it depends on the temperature on the actual sport mode race, because in this it was 22 degrees Celsius for me, and in fact after the race I quickly checked back with the Lexus in Group 3 and it went up to 24 degrees Celsius, so it actually got slightly hotter during the race. Can't tell when that would have been, but all I know is it did get a bit hotter during the stint, probably just over time, since it would transition a bit from late morning starting to go into the afternoon. So maybe I could do 9 lap slots. I mean, it's a possibility, but I'd have to be extremely careful on the rear tyres to do that, and I'd probably have to use different brake rolls, which I would not feel comfortable using. So that's why, in my opinion, the opt strat is either 1 lap hard, 60 laps mediums, 8 laps softs, or 2 laps in the hard, maybe even 3 laps in the hard if you want to try to be a bit different. But I'd say 2 laps hard maximum, at least in top level. 2 laps hard, 15 laps mediums, 8 laps softs. Obviously, again, if you're in the lower lobby, so let's say mid A, you're probably not going to be able to do 8 laps in the softs. You have to be very consistent and you have to be very precise with your steering angle and throttle management, etc. You'll probably want to do 7 laps in the softs, because if you run out of rear tyres, especially, well, and front tyres on top of that, if you run out of tyres, then it's a long day for you and you're going to be so slow on your in lap, etc. That, you know, all that work that you did in the earlier part of the stint to have the dead tyres at the end is completely wasted. And even then, even if you didn't have completely dead tyres, if you were to just push, then you'll just be so at the end of the stint that the people that would have been tyre saving a bit will easily get you at the end of the stint. So you don't actually lose much pace while trying to tyre save here. But if you were to fully push and overheat the tyres, you lose a lot of pace, especially second half of each stint. So you'll have a lot worse tyre wear compared to your competitors. But I'll talk about the tyre saving in a minute or two. From memory, yeah, you get, I believe, 29 laps of fuel on times 1 fuel, and I really think, and I'm being genuine here, I really think Turismo missed the trick of not putting it on times 2 fuel, because it would mean we would have about 14 laps of fuel in the tank if we were just to push, which means we could maybe fuel save a bit and extend the medium stint, or, you know, push completely, do less laps on the mediums, do more laps on the hards, which is slow tyre, but since you're pushing the car, then, you know, it would be interesting to see the time differences between those two strats. So I really think it should have been the times 2 fuel here, and it would have benefited you fuel saving in traffic potentially, or fuel saving in the front of the train, trying to hold people up in S1, S2, etc. without being deliberately blocking or dirty or anything. I think the strat would have been extremely interesting if it was times 2 fuel. I really think personally missed a trick here, unfortunately. However, saying that, on times 1 fuel, this is still I found this combo really fun to drive with the fuel on, to be honest. Even without fuel in time trial, I found it really fun. I just find it harder in time trial to hook up the lap, because obviously with less fuel, you have less stability on exits, since you are in a lighter car, and you are also going faster on top of that, but you have less reaction time, you know, you're pushing to the limit. You don't have to worry about tyre or anything, so you don't have to, you know, have less steering angle or anything. You can just push, see what you can do. But saying that, I found this really fun to drive, and if you're not a fan of this car or you're not a fan of this track, I would recommend to at least practice it and just, you know, give it a chance, see if you like it or not. If you don't like it, fair enough. I know not many people like the X2019 because that car is extremely difficult to drive, and we do see the car a lot. However, saying that, I still quite enjoy the car, but I would like to see a new updated version of this car, since we have had and used this car for the last 7 years now, and I do think it's about time we got a change. Because if you look from the past, obviously the original version of this car came out in 2010 with Gran Turismo 5. In Gran Turismo 6, I believe it was the X2014, so it's a 4-year difference, and the X2019 was 5 years after the X2014, which is the car we're using now. Now it's been 7 years, and we're still using the X2019. So I do think it's time we get an updated version of this car. However, saying that, I still enjoy driving this car, to be honest. I know not many people do, but I genuinely really like driving this car. I'm not the best in this car, but it is fun to drive once you are hooked up and in the zone in this car, which I know not many people can say, since it's very hard to be precise and fast in this car. Even I make mistakes in this car, and I don't tend to make many mistakes in general, so yeah. I still really like this car though. But anyway, now I'm going to talk about the tyres. So, what you may have noticed is my front and rear tyres are looking quite similar at the moment. So what I did before doing this race one that you're seeing now is I basically used the softs, see how many laps I would do just pushing, no tyre saving or anything, and what I noticed was I did 7 laps on those soft tyres. Yes, it was with full fuel, keeping in mind that it will make a tiny bit of a difference. However, saying that, I could only do 7 laps and my fronts were destroyed. Like, my fronts wore more quickly than the rear tyres, which is insane to say. So if you know anything about this car, on different tracks and combos in the past, etc., you'll know that the rears have a lot more wear than the front on this car in general. And the reason for that is just because of the traction. You're having to, since this car is light and has a lot of power, you are putting a lot of torque and a lot of weight onto the rear tyres, that you have wheel spin, and the rear tyres will just overheat extremely easily, and especially with wheel spin, it will just destroy the rear tyres wear, which is why you tend to see a lot more rear tyre wear in this car. But saying that, on this track, if you look at the track characteristics, especially in the first sector, I would say, it's a lot of fast sweeping corners, and those type of corners tend to use a lot more front tyre wear than the rear tyre, since you don't have to worry about traction much or anything. However, you're needing the front tyre to actually like bite into the corner and basically get your car to turn in, which is why on this combo anyway, without tyre saving anything, you will have more front tyre wear. So this is why, in my opinion, it is extremely important to save your front tyres on this combo, because yes, you may sacrifice those few tenths at the beginning of the stints each lap, but you're going to be gaining half a second to a second a lap at the end of the stint, just because you've got so much better front tyres than your competitors. So in my opinion, it's worth tyre saving. So I'll tell you where I'm tyre saving. So for turn 1, turn 2, I'm not really tyre saving. I am tyre saving a bit, but I mainly do it for braking. I just trail brake it a bit more. So if you look here, I start trail braking earlier, and I lift off the brakes a bit earlier, and obviously I put less steering angle in this one. So if you were to put a lot of steering angle as you put the throttle down, you'll just destroy your front tyres, since you're asking the front tyres to basically steer and put down the power at the same time, which just scrubs the front tyres. You don't want to do that. So turn 1, turn 2, just trail brake it and have to light steering. Turn 3, try coast through the left-hander, tap the brakes and just let the car do like 30% steering, and that's still enough steering to easily make the corner and save a lot of your front right tyre there. I'll explain the reasons why once I've described each corner, but I'll let you guys know in a minute. The turn 4, again I'm coasting through it since it's a fast corner, even though it's the left tyre. You still want to save it as much as possible, because you want as much grip as possible at the end of the stint. Turn 5, similar to turn 3, just coast it, let the 30% steering do the work, the car will still turn easily, not losing much time, and you're just going to have a much better time taking tyres there at the end of the stint. Turn 6 again, coast through it. Turn 7, I would say the biggest tyre killer on this track personally, so the first one of S2. So for that reason, what I tend to do is I tend to sacrifice a few miles an hour there, and I go for a similar time. However, saying that, you need to ease off the steering a lot in that corner. So if you were to have a lot of steering while putting the power down, you would literally hear the front right tyre scrubbing and screeching. That it destroys that tyre. That is the most important corner to tyre save easy in this car, in my opinion. Turn 8, I don't really tyre save, I'd rather just survive than tyre save in that corner, to be honest. Turn 9, again I'm not really tyre saving. However, saying that, just ease off the steering a bit as you get on the power, because again, you don't want to screw the front left tyre. The hairpin, not tyre saving, it's a very safe runner. Just try not hold on to the brakes too long while turning, because that can kill your tyres. Try and just, release the brakes early. Kind of like this. I kind of held on the brakes a bit too much there. I should have gone off the brakes a bit earlier. The next corner coming up, again, I'm mainly focusing on not dying, but I am tyre saving a touch there. Just easing off the steering a bit and maybe sacrificing a few more an hour. This corner, I'd say the second biggest tyre killer of this track in this car, since again, you get on the power extremely early in this car and you don't want to scrub your front right tyre. So ease off the steering as you put the power down basically. This one's easy flat, don't need to worry. And the last chicane, again, I'm not worried about the tyres. So those are the sort of ways I'm tyre saving on this combo. At least on the mediums and soft stints. On the hard stints, just fully push to be honest, because especially if you don't start on the hard tyres, then you need to get the tyre temp up on those tyres. Like, it's just worth pushing and just push to the limit and try and catch up to the people or try and get away from people, etc. Especially if they're on the same tyres as you. Now, what was I mentioning? The reasons why I'm tyre saving the way I was describing them. So, like I was mentioning, especially on these two particular corners, so the first one of S2 and the last one of S3, those are the biggest tyre killers because you are turning a lot while putting the throttle down, and since it's long corners especially, you are basically on the throttle for a long time while still turning, and that is the biggest way to kill your tyres in the game basically, since you're basically asking the front tyre to put the power down and steer at the same time, which is just too much for the front tyres to handle, which is why they get destroyed. So in case you haven't noticed, it's mainly the front right tyre that gets killed the most. Obviously now you're seeing my rear tyres are worse than my front tyres, but that's because I'm managing my front tyres to have the best pace possible at the end of the stints. Especially if you are in people's slipstream, then it's definitely worth using that slipstream to tyre save and try to pass them towards the end of the stints and try to break the tail at the end. So that way you are in less battles and you're doing the best possible race time for yourself. Other than that, there's not really much else to say, to be honest. What I would say is, especially the softer tyre compounds you get, is you want to try tyre save more since you have more grip. It's easy to tyre save you, if you were to ask me. And since you've got more grip and more, and plus you're on softer tyres, you will have a lot more tyre wear. So you want to try and manage that tyre wear as much as possible on the softer tyres, since if you can be on the softer tyres for longer, you're just going to have a much better finishing time compared to your competitor, and it gives you a lot more variety that you can do with a pit strat. That you can do different stuff to your competitive. You can try overcut, you can try undercut, you can just try and get them at the end of each stint, etc. You're less likely to make mistakes since you have better tyres at the end. The more tyre wear that you have, the more likely you're going to have overheated tyres, so you're just going to understeer off each corner, etc. But like I said, other than that, there's not really much else to say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut up and let the driving do the talking. If you may have noticed as well, the wind has changed, which is why you'll see me go from last day almost for the race stint now. So I'm gonna leave it to you guys. Before I go, first of all, huge thanks for over 4,000 subs. I'm gaining on average about just under 1,000 a month currently, which is just insane for a channel my size. So thank you guys. This will be out on the Monday morning, so you'll probably see me do the Bathurst daily stream later that day. If it's in Group 3, I will make a daily race guide of it for Tuesday morning. If it's Group 4, you'll just see me stream it. I may still make a guide for it if I enjoy it enough, but I'm less likely to make a daily race guide of that. But if it is Group 3, Bathurst, I am recording this on the Sunday night, so I don't know what the cars we're using for Bathurst, but if it's Group 3, do expect to see quite a lot of daily race streams because I love Group 3, it's my favourite category, and I do like battles as well. So I do expect to see me grinding on that on the streams if it's to be Group 3. If it's Group 4, you may see a stream or two. I may make a guide for it as well. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. I'm not going to force myself to do something I don't want to do. So if I find enough enjoyment, then I will make a guide and I will stream it a few times. I do try to aim to stream at least once a week every daily race. Just so that you guys can get my opinion on each dailies and maybe learn more with other cars, because last year or two I've basically only really been driving Group 3 and some Nations cars, so X2019 I've driven a little bit of Group 2. Other than that, some road cars, I don't really drive other cars, like you don't ever really see me Group 4 cars. But with that, like I said, thanks for your support. I would appreciate a like and a sub if you find this helpful and enjoyable to watch. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments. I'll answer to the best of my ability. As always, I'll try my best to give you the best guidance possible for your race. One more thing as well before I forget. If you were to get pole position and you want to try breakaway, I would recommend to start on the medium tyres. And the reason I would recommend to start on the mediums instead of softs is because if you were to start on the softs and the people behind you were to start on the mediums, you would pit from the soft tyres and you may get into traffic and you may get into incidents. Since you're only doing 7 or 8 laps or so on the soft tyres maximum, while the mediums are doing around 15 laps. So I would recommend starting on medium tyres. Do your 15 laps or so medium tyres thing, however many laps you can manage. That way when you pit, everyone else would have already pitted. Maybe you'll get undercutted by the people that went on softs, but if so, don't worry about it, just go on the hard tyres next in, and then go on the soft tyres last in. Or, if you think you've got enough of a gap, then go on the soft tyres, try and make a big enough gap so that by the time you get onto hard tyres, you don't have to worry about defending or anything. You have enough of a gap to just cruise to the finish line and hopefully win your races. And I will be streaming this race on the Wednesday, of course, guys, but now I'm going to leave the commentary. I'm going to leave the rest of the stints in the background so you guys can see what I'm doing, my steering angle, etc., especially on the soft stints. And yeah, hopefully you can take a thing or two from what I'm showing you. So thank you guys, hope you enjoyed. I'd appreciate a like and a sub. Any questions, put them below and I'll subscribe to my ability. But thank you guys, and goodbye.